Welcome to The Courage to Be Seen, real conversations with leaders about personal branding and career growth. I'm your host, Lisa Gibson, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by Francie Jain, the founder and CEO of Terawatt Coaching Group. Welcome, Francie.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
So we met, what was it now, about a year ago, or maybe even 2 years ago. We were joint guests on a podcast, a hilarious podcast that opened, if you remember, with the Jeopardy game.
Yeah.
And we got to know each other, and I obviously think we hit it off. And then since then, we met in person.
Yeah.
When I was in your neck of the woods on a business trip.
Yeah, exactly. No, that was so fun. I mean, I have to say, I always forget how competitive I am until someone's like, guess what? You're on a game show. You didn't even realize it. And I was like, let's go.
Absolutely.
That was really fun.
It was super fun. So before we jump in, I thought maybe you could share a little bit about your background and maybe a bit about what Terawatt does.
Yeah, sure. Terawatt is, it's a B2B marketplace in some ways, which basically is another way of saying we're kind of like Airbnb for coaching. In that we don't create content, we find talented coaches and we vet them and we bring them on our platform, and they have their own process and content and ways of teaching. And what we do is we pitch and we work with employers and we help them in different ways. One of the best ways I think that we can be helpful is by bringing psychological safety to organizations.
As a founder and CEO, especially when you're kind of pivoting and starting something new, being visible and being known for something is really critical. And I'm curious, because now I do see you on podcasts and speaking at conferences, and obviously, you're out there. I see your posts on social. Was there ever a time though when you were not as visible, where you felt a bit hesitant to be visible? And if so, if you wouldn't mind sharing, what was holding you back?
Yeah. Well, I think that for sure when I first started, all the little things I was doing felt really scary. I remember when I first launched the website and being terrified. I mean, looking back, I'm no one even looks at the website. It's I don't know why I cared that much, but it felt very vulnerable. And I think for a long time, I felt I just need to do this one thing and then I can be an expert, right? And I think that's kind of common, especially in the coaching space. And it's kind of a little bit chicken and the egg, right? The more that you do, the more that you know. I think the big change for me was I had actually one of my coaches is a guy named Steve Long, and he's in Colorado, and his PhD was about the opposite of learned helplessness. How do you teach outperformance? It's super cool, which is basically the same vibe. I really, it's my life force belief that we all can be excellent. Let's try to find the best way to be the best version of ourselves. And he has a process, and I went through the process. And one of the things that started happening is that I realized speaking up was a way of helping others. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a peacocking thing. It was saying, oh my God, I know something that can help you. And once that kind of clicked over and I realized that I knew things that people didn't know and I should think about it more as education and helping them, then it was so much easier for me to speak up. It doesn't make it scary because it's not about look at me, I'm so fab. It's more hey, I know something that could help you out. And for me, that was the change. Yeah,
it's funny because I have in recent years working with lots of leaders on their brand, have actually really started to reframe personal branding, not as self-promotional and ego, but as leadership and service to others, kind of sharing, the things that you've gone through, maybe the things you've learned the hard way, so that other people can learn from you and they don't have to have the same, challenging experience. So I just love the way you think of that. Now, obviously you started doing some things. Was there a time when you decided to get a little bit more intentional?
Oh, yes. Actually, this is really interesting. So my business, at its heart, is a marketplace. I mean, right now we're not point and click the way Airbnb is, but the idea is we're matching people up. And so I love a marketplace. I use Upwork all the time. You know what I mean? If I can go to a marketplace and find somebody, that to me is my number one way of solving a problem. And so there is a marketplace now called Podmatch.
Yes. Yep.
And it's a marketplace for matching to podcasts.
Yeah, and I think that's how you and I ended up on the same one.
Oh, right. And that's how we found, exactly. Yeah. And I was just really clear about what I wanted to speak about. And I kind of had a goal for myself of doing 52, I guess it was in 2025. So I could have like one a week.
Wow, and that's ambitious.
Yeah, well, I also was like, thanks. Well, I was also like, I love chatting. So it kind of started really working. And then it's one of these funny things where like with Podmatch, you rate them and they rate you. So like the podcast rates you. And the more that I did a good job on there, the higher rated I became, like then I started, more people agreed. And now what's interesting is because there's so many there and I've been putting it on LinkedIn, then people now find me on LinkedIn from that and are reaching out to me to be on their podcast. And so I don't have to do any work.
Right. So there's impact for sure, right?
Like, yeah. And that was really helpful. And then what's interesting too is I knew this going in, but I don't know if I knew how important it would be, but like now that I've done so many, I'm really succinct about what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's been really good practice about getting my point across and speaking to other people and educating them and also giving me feedback. Like every time I speak to somebody about this, they're like, wow, that's such a good idea. And then you know, I have these two pretty big deal like conference speaking things coming up in April. And I do think that helped because then the conference evaluators could be like, well, like, is she good at speaking in front of a group? I don't even know. But like, they're like my millions of podcasts on the internet. So it helps me there.
Yeah. And it's funny what you said. I do find that sometimes when people, like they make the decision, they see the value of being more visible. So they become more visible, but they just kind of like fire hose it out and just start posting without getting the clarity about like, why am I doing this and what do I want to talk about? So I loved how you said you eventually narrowed it down and got really clear on like your narrative and what you were all about and what message you wanted to shoot out. And the other thing that I love what you said is I find this too, is when I am more visible, I get a lot more feedback. And so going back to this, like it's not just self-promotional, but I think that for me is one of the unexpected outcomes is the feedback that you get that helps your business or that helps another area of your life.
Or even making connections, people reaching out to you.
Because so many people are scared of getting it wrong. And more importantly, they're really scared of what other people will think. And I tell this story about how, and this wasn't that long ago, I drafted this post and I really liked it and I was about to post it and someone was leaning over my shoulder, which I hate, but they were leaning over my shoulder and they were like, are you really gonna post that? Like, do you think people will care? And I hesitated. And I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, but I hesitated in that moment and I didn't post it. And then I thought about it like all day long and it bugged me. And so eventually I did post it. And it really reminded me that you're speaking and you should only care about what the people that you want to reach or inspire or impress are. Like, those are the people you should care about if you're going to care at all. And even if you post something and let's just say it doesn't drive engagement or whatever, it didn't really do a whole lot for you. For me, I look at it as a learning opportunity. I kind of go, okay, either maybe the time I posted wasn't right, or maybe that content isn't interesting to my target audience, or maybe I don't have the right audience yet. But for me, I like to look at it as learning. But I do think there's a ton of fear. And so part of why I wanted to do this series is to help people kind of get over the fear. So would you say the way you got over that fear is by kind of starting small and just starting, and rather than letting the fear hold you back?
Well, 100%. I also think that what I kind of started to realize was, what am I afraid of? I think there's a vague fear of just like exposure. But if you really like break it down, like truly, like, what are you afraid of? Do you know what I mean? And I think the more that you can like unpack that fear, the better off you are. And now I think back to like, well, like I'm super clear about what I'm saying. So if you don't like it, like for sure you're not for me, but like I'm so clear this is what I'm all about that like I don't even know why you would not be. This may not be for you, but like this is about me. Like, and I think,
but it really just drove home for me, he's not the right audience. Okay, so we're almost out of time, but I'm curious if there's somebody that's watching this who is hesitant about becoming more visible, what advice would you give them?
I think I would just say, well, what do people need to know? it's not about you being like, look at me. It's you saying, I have something to contribute to the world that people are missing. And like, you need to know this.
Again, if people can reframe it that way, number one, it makes it a lot more comfortable, and it just helps so many around us. Thank you so much for joining. It's been fantastic catching up. And to everyone else, I look forward to the next episode of The Courage to Be Seen. Thank you.